Hey guys, how's it going? May 7th, 2018. And yeah, I think I'll try this again. I mean, the last time I did it, I think I deleted not just one but two streams. I figure I'll try it again. Why not? I'm a glutton for punishment. Um, I think I'm going to keep the chat off just because I need all the space I can see on the windows, so my apologies if you're looking to chat with me. Or the best bet is to post on the forums, I think. But anyways, let me go back to where I was. Actually, I probably have gone a little bit further. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I wonder if I can do that. Usually I like to run the administrator, but that's okay. We'll try it that way. Alright. So, what I did... no, that's not what I want to do. I'm going to hit the play button here. So, I think the issue here... Now this is actually running the program. I did add a... Notice when I click it, it moves to the right. That's the first code I've added. Obviously, I don't want it to do that, but it was just something to get, basically, to know that I wasn't losing my mind and that I could do something. The other thing that I'm finding is that I probably need two different sprites versus having the one. Now, originally I did keep them as two separate sprites, but I believe I have to put them as one. I could probably do it either way, except I would have to turn the animation off and I would have to select the scene or something. And I was looking at that yesterday and I was like, that's not how... I'm sure I could probably do it and figure it out. It's just... like for now, it's a little bit new to me, so I'm not gonna go experimenting with that at the moment. So, a few things that I've been seeing. I was over on Train Sim, and I had heard about this before, but I never really thought about it too much because I don't know why. Of course, you hear the different simulators that are out there. You hear about the I don't know what one is it, Juicy Goosey, whatever the hell it's called. I can't think of the name of it. I don't know what it is. It's supposed to be a pretty good one, but it never appealed to me, whatever it was. But I know I'm butchering that name. I can't even remember how the hell, whatever it's called. But anyways, sorry. But it didn't really appeal to me, whatever it was. It was, it just didn't appeal to me. And of course, Train Sim World doesn't appeal to me because you've got the whole run an activity, go through it, that's it. The other ones are all activity based as well for the most part. There's not much difference. That's what made Run 8 very, very interesting for me, was that it was basically an open world. So you want to run something, you do it. The randomness was a little bit too much, but honestly, I was thinking today, and I started thinking again. I wasn't getting the bug, but I was really, after, I don't know, after just getting my head scrambled with what had happened, and it's just like, every time you fall so many times, it's just like, I mean, I guess the strength is that you get back up and you try something new, or you try something again. But you don't try the same thing twice. That's for damn sure. That's just insanity. So, after so many different ways of looking at it, I just decided that at least for now, until the parameters change, Run 8 is probably not going to be a server that I run. That being said, I might be running Run 8 tomorrow night, and I'll do a live stream of that. And that'll be probably at, I don't know, what time would it be? I guess I'd be around this time tomorrow, 9 o'clock or so, maybe. So it's 9:15 right now, so yeah, I think I'll run it. I'm not, I'm not missing running the trains or anything like that, but I really haven't taken a look at the running a train in the LA section. And since I have it, I want to use it. So I thought, yeah, maybe I'll see. I don't know what the Southwest, if they're how much they're doing in LA, or if they're actually dispatching the full thing. I can't believe they got one guy dispatching. Hopefully they got two, but jeez, that's a lot. I'm hoping they have two people up there. So yeah, I think I'm gonna join them. Can't beat. Yeah, I'm not saying I've never tried to beat them, but you can't run a server, and you can't. It just gets to you eventually. Just running the trains is just as appealing. Now, anything else out there for me, I have no idea. It's certainly not going to happen in. It's not going to happen Depot or Depot Plus. That won't happen. I've if any, number one, it's not. It doesn't appeal to me anyways. It's cool. I mean, it's an RTS type environment. If anything, RTS 1 environment with a little bit more AI and a lot more people. That's for damn sure. But as far as the car forwarding goes and stuff like that, that's what it reminds me of, from what I've heard and seen. So no, that's not for me. Once you get the taste of something, you don't go back. Like, once you get a taste of something you like, I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, that's a bad analogy, I suppose. I mean, I eat sandwiches. It doesn't mean I love sandwiches. I eat it because it's cheap. But, or it's better for you than some of the stuff that's really good. I don't know. A horrible analogy, actually. But the thing is, in the simulator sense, once you have something, it's hard to go back to something that was the same thing. I can't think of an analogy, but you can't go back to the same thing that was not as good, if that makes sense. I don't know how else to explain that, but that's how I felt about that. So no, there's no looking back in that way. It only has to get better. That's the way I see it. It has to get better in order for me to do it, or I have to come up with solutions that would work. I was starting to think of a few things today. There was a time where I thought, yeah, maybe I could just put myself in the hump. Quite frankly, I'm actually to the point right now that if I was going to do my own thing, I would do it in single player. I wouldn't worry about the server, and that's nothing to do with the guys who have supported me and the guys that continue to support me regardless of what I do. It's much easier for me to manage. I mean, I think Ski's in the same boat. It's much easier. Like now, here I am on Sundays. I'm doing the same thing on Mondays as well, where I just basically have that time to play multiplayer games with my son. We've never, the first time I did that was Sunday. I did it again tonight. I just got off of that, actually. He just went to bed at around 9 o'clock tonight for whatever reason, but last night was 9:30. I don't know why 9 tonight, but anyways, yeah, he called around 6. I wasn't too sure if he was going to call because I was waiting, and you never know with him. Sometimes it's just like, I remember there's a few times before we talked about it and he never ended up calling, so, and I wasn't going to call him and, you know, bug or anything like that, so. But anyways, before I get to the whole Run 8 thing, I do want to say a shout out to something that I did see that kind of surprised me and I didn't expect it to. And I was in the forums, like I said, on Train Sim, and I saw something called a diesel car simulator or something like that. I can't remember what the full name of it, diesel car rail simulator or something like that. Or I don't know what it is. It's European, British, to be exact. It's totally free. Well, I shouldn't say it's totally freelance. It's based on, I think, 60s models, but the routes themselves are freelanced. I don't know if they're protolanced or freelanced or whatever. But I looked at it. I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. It's up on Steam. It's up for $17, and I'll tell you something. There was a side of me for just a minute there was just like, wow. I was actually that tempted, but then something kind of. I know there's a subway simulator out there and all that other stuff. Normally I'm not into those things, but something about that kind of looked appealing. There's a few things that I liked about it. Not so much the controls and all that other stuff, and I think it would just be a fad for me personally, especially being single player and not being afraid and all that, but it was certainly something that I think I could have a lot of fun with. I don't know if I could keep running it all the time. This is one of those things where I asked my son about that on chat tonight when we were playing multiplayer, if he had heard of it, and one of the YouTubers that we follow actually covered it. I had no idea he did. And I was watching one of his videos, and he went into it, and it was just like, you had all these services. I think you could only run daylight services, but it started from like 7 a.m. in the morning till 7 p.m. at night or 6 p.m. at night or something like that. And it had every single service that ran that day on the particular routes. And you could do, you can do the law, you can do the inner cities, you can do the ones that stop everywhere. You had it basically, the way it described, which, and I say this all because this kind of gives me kind of ideas as to where I'm going, but at the same time reassesses that I'm on the right track in my own little way. So you can have any service, and so right away, as soon as I heard that, I said, okay, yeah, you get out of the services and you got a whole bunch of activities, but where's the repeat playability? It's just like every other activity one. And then I saw it answered my question, and that was that some of the trains get delayed. Now, I don't know exactly how that works, if the AI is intelligent enough to alter the schedule, or suddenly you're holding its signals. I don't know how that works, but that would be interesting. If it's routine most of the time, but then suddenly it throws a monkey wrench into things. And the guy who was doing it, he could never get the train on time or something, but I don't know. Maybe he's, not as experienced or whatever, but it certainly got my attention. The graphics aren't absolute, it's not like as good as the big ones, but similar to Run 8 to some extent, I would say. I don't know if it was better, worse, whatever, but similar, I would say. I could be wrong on that, but that was my impression. It looked pretty good, I thought. And yeah, controls. I'm not very familiar with the control. I'm somewhat familiar with the UK lines. There was UK Rail Sim, or not UK Rail Sim. It sounds like the forum. There was what was a UK Train Sim or something. I'm thinking of the forum name. There was some SimSig. Maybe that was it. I don't know what the hell it was. There was a simulator that came out. I think it was before Microsoft Train Simulator, if I recall. And yeah, and it was a really cool one too. Back in the day, and these were when some of the first quote unquote 3D simulators, and it was nothing. But it used to be fun, and it had the searchlight signals, and it had a North American version. It had a UK version, but it had a North American version, and that had the searchlight signals. Practically no scenery. The trains, yeah, there were AI trains, but they really weren't doing anything, if I recall, or they sat at stations, or I don't know what the hell it was. But you ran your train, and you would get different scenarios pop up randomly as far as the signals go. Sometimes suddenly you'd be stopping at a signal, and then it would start going again or something. It was interesting. I couldn't quite figure out the logic of it, but it always felt good. Plus it had a route editor, if I recall too, because I believe I did the Stanford sub down my way, but it was very interesting. So I kind of thought about that a little bit today and tonight, and I was like, for me personally, it's like, sometimes you think you try to compare yourself to others. You try to compare yourself to Run 8. I'm not going to beat Run 8. There's not a chance. But what I can do is make the things, like I said before, that I feel were weaknesses in Run 8 and improve upon them. As for the strengths, good luck. There's so many strengths in Run 8, and the fact that it's a 3D simulator, for one, it's I'm not competing as far as a 3D simulator, and I'm certainly not competing with a team that has experience with route building and 3D modeling and all that other stuff. I'm not going to compete with that. I'm just going to do my thing. So let's just keep doing our thing. So this is our thing, and we got a lot to learn still. I haven't really spent the time. There are other YouTube videos out there, but that's okay. These are just little things that I got playing around here. Let me get those out of there for now. So where do we keep going? So the sprites I've got to change. I'm almost certain of that. But before I do that, I want to go explore, and this is a YouTube video that is of one of the series that I have been following. This is that's no, it's not. It's I think it was the same. Maybe it wasn't. I should be subscribed, but I'm not. Let me just go through the history then. I'll find it. So yeah, I was looking at Railcar Simulator tonight, and okay, let's see if I can find the particular. Here's the series here. Okay, so this is your title screen. I think it was the spawns, but I'm not sure. It's one of the last ones. I'm going to take a quick look at this here.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to part 8. Layer specifically spawn, these enemy, and the enemies all one. Like it gives our player. So one let's go X, not one, type aside. And always if image X this function.
Okay, so he's doing an image scale.
The object, the enemy object, actually runs its create event when we turn into one. So I'm going to put 1 in there, or I could also write true. In fact, I will. Okay, so now
that's
let's
interesting.
place a few with 1 in there, or I could also write true.
So there's an instance change. I gotta see that for a minute. that part's.
Because then it's just going to take whatever value that's got and make it exactly the same. Okay, so it's just a little bit easier. In fact, I've changed my mind. I think that might be a bit too fast. Let's make that 0.02.
So that's changing the scale of the image, so it slowly disappears.
X scale.
Or sorry, it slowly appears.
So if our scale has reached the point where it's 1, so it's its maximum regular size, what we're going to do then is say instance change. Okay, now this is this function. Instance change. What instance change does is it swaps one object into another type of object. Okay, so we're going to change from being an obj underscore enemy spawn into being an obj underscore enemy. So we're going to type obj underscore enemy because that's the object we want to turn into.
Okay, that's the one right there. Instance change. And some of these names, that's where I get confused as to what is what. So I think I'm okay with that one. I'm not going to worry about the black background too much. I'm not going to try to focus. I want to get into some substance with these things. So he's basically, that command there will and that's in a step of after the spawning, I believe. So these monsters, these green monsters are coming on the screen, and they start out as little dots and then they get bigger. And the whole idea behind that is he's got like a shooter game where he's in a 2D world, and it gives the player time to react to the instance coming up. And what happens is, so it scales it, but then it becomes an enemy, if that makes sense. Now that's the instance change. I'm just trying to figure out why he has to say image x scale. I guess it's because part of the whole animation. No, it's not really an animation though. It's just him it's just that getting bigger, but it's a different instance. So it could basically use the same sprite, but I'm willing to try the instance. I'll take a look at what I have and see if I can do it. So, well, that's the instance right there. Don't have much for instances, that's for sure. Do I have object change? Just curious about that one. Okay, wait a minute. Okay. A sprite is made up of one or more sub-images which can make this... Ah! Okay. Well, maybe I'll still be able to do this. So let me read this here. This may still work the way I originally intended. So a sprite is made up of one or more sub-images which can be made the sprite appear animated as they switch from one to the other, which is what you've been seeing in the runtime. Or can they be or can be, what the hell? Or their grammar's like mine. It can be switched in code to give different states. That's what I was trying to find yesterday, and I was looking to try to find this, change the state. So, anyways, much like a button has in Windows, if the sprite is animated, then you can get the current frame of the animation by checking the image index variable. Oh, okay. I don't want to do that. Or if you want to change the state of the static sprite, you can select a new sub-image by selecting this variable to the desired sub-image for the sprite. Please note that for changes in this variable to be visible, the instance should have either no draw event, and so GameMaker Studio will default draw the sprite, or be drawn using one of the extended drawing functions like draw self or draw sprite external. Please note that while using skeletal animation sprites, you can still get and set the image index values. Set the function. So see the function skeleton animation get duration for examples of how to do this. Please note that while using skeletal animation sprites, I don't know if it's a skeletal animation because I'm not 100% sure what that is. So that's to destroy the instance. The above code checks to see if the sprite is animating, and if it is, then checks to see if the current image index is greater than the number of sub-images. No, that's not what I wanted to see. You can get the current frame of the animation by check. Draw self? Okay, hang on a second. Okay, so I would have to execute the draw self. All right. Let me oh, can I minimize that? I'd like to if I can. Looks like, oh, that's the help. Awesome. have to go back to the instances right there, right? So let's try this. Oh, it's a creation code. Okay, so I'm going to put speed equals 0, index equals 1. No, I gotta put index. Can I do that? It doesn't like that. What's this mean? Okay, I can't use index as a statement. How about frame? Okay, so I'm still having a hard time trying to find how to set the frame. I can do a step. Okay. Okay, let me just put the speed equals 0 and see what that does. Okay. So let me run that. Now it should be flashing. Now if I click on it, no. Okay, maybe I have to redraw it there. Now that's still doing the same code that I had doing it before. So what did I do to get that to do that? Creation code. No, that's a room creation code. Get out of here. Oh, there we go. I forgot about the events. Okay. Speed equals 0. Index. Yeah, it don't like that. How about frame? Doesn't like frame. Okay, why don't you like that? Bugger off. Okay, we'll do it that way for now. Stop the current running project before running again? Yeah, sure. Why not? So that doesn't stop it. I gotta do that redraw thing, which will be over. Is that my help there? Probably. No, that's my program. Okay, gotcha. Draw underscore self. think I did that right. Let me. I believe that's how I have to do it. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. What was the other one? Draw sprite. What is that one? Oh! I like that command. Draws a sprite at a given position with customizable scaling, rotation, blend, and alpha. Do I need to have all those functions in there? Are they optional? Doesn't modify the resource in any way, only how it's drawn, and you can use any of the available sprite variables instead of direct values for all the arguments in the function. The image below illustrates different. Okay. Here we go. I just copied that. I think I got it now. Well, we'll see. Let's close the program off first, just like it asked me to do last time. I don't need my help. Alright, so get out of there. Oh, I always forget this one. That's not what I wanted. Go over here. No. This is what happens when you don't have open all event scripts. Oh, there it is. Okay. So I put speed equals 0. So now what I'll do is I will copy that code in there. So here's how it's going to work. If sprite underscore index equals 1, okay. I don't know if we have an else, an if else. I haven't tried that. I should try the if command again just to see what the criteria is of it. Doesn't really say. usually if ah, crap. I believe they have 0 and 1, but I'm gonna try it. So I'm gonna try this. Wish me luck. Code error. Well, that's the first time I've seen one of those screens. Okay. So let me read that. Fatal error. Variable object greener. What the hell? Not set before reading it. Okay. I'll abort it. Let me go into my sprites then. I think I know what happened. See that the speed goes down to 0 after it's pressed, which should be okay. Oh, I screwed it up. Let's try that. I don't think it'll help any, but I'm willing to try it. I don't know if it's an if-then. I haven't figured that part out yet, but let me just try that one. Well, that time it's not doing anything. It's still. I'm not too sure if speed is the actual. So let's do it hard code. So if I go into the sprites, I can do it here. Yeah, I could probably do it there. No, that's not what I want. No. All right. So I'm going to change the sprite. Because that I'm going to edit it. I'm going to put down speed to what's 1? Let's try that. I don't know if that's saved or not. No, that's not working. Okay, what's going on then? At least I stopped that. Alright. So if sprite index equals 1, is there an index of 1 and 2? I don't know if that works or not. I don't need the speed. At least I don't think I do. So I'm going to get that out of there. Yeah, stop the current running program. No, that ain't working. Okay. No, I totally screwed that up. I just realized what I did. I see it now. Gotcha. I don't know what sprite index and image index is. I might have to go with image index, but let me try. Let me try sticking it to 1. I'm not 100% sure what the difference between the two are. Okay, so let's try that. That ain't it. Okay, so maybe it's the other one then. Alright, so let's go ahead with huh. Yeah, I know. There's an error. You don't like that. I understand why. Thank you. I love how it gives you an error right away. It kind of... Why are you... Yeah, get away. So we're going to go with image index this time. And see if it likes that better. I'm not too sure what the sprite index is. I got a funny feeling I know what that is now. That could get very interesting. I think it's instances, maybe. Well, not necessarily, but we'll try it. And if not, I'm going to get the help file open. All right, let's try this now. Are you kidding me? Is it because I have to close this, maybe? I'm wondering if it's the if command. Here, I'm going to close it up for a minute. I don't know if that's it or not, but no, I can't get it to change, which kind of sucks, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, let me go into the help for a second here. Okay, where did sub-image come from? I'm okay. I'm really confused. I copied a line of code, sprite index, image index. Oh. So it is the image index. The index of the sprite to draw the sub-image frame of the sprite to draw image index or what the heck? Or -1 correlate to the current frame of the animation in the object. Hmm. All right, hold on a second. Man, this is more confusing than I thought. The sub-image frame of the sprite to draw image underscore index or -1 correlate to the current frame of the animation of the object. Mm-hmm. Well, I can play around with the different values. That's not a problem. It's just, do I want to be doing that all night? Not really. Yeah, I kind of want to get off of this part here. But if I can't get that working, then, you know. See, I'm not even too sure about this 0 and 1 and 2 thing. I'll try 1. No, I'm looking at the wrong one again. Or am I? No, image index, that's right. Alright, let's try 1 and 2. I don't know what that means, but just in case 0's not a valid number, although it probably would have told me if that was the case. Yeah, stop the current running program. See if it crashes. Nah, it's not going to do nothing. So I'm in the left pressed. It's not reading that. So current frame 1 of 2. Oh, I see. One goes on, one goes off. All right. So, all right, let me go back to the help for a second. Okay, there's an if expression statement, else statement. Okay. Okay. Hold on a second here. Okay, so you got to put it in the bracket. That could be the issue right there. We'll get it. I'm surprised it didn't give me an error on that then. Okay, so if image... Yeah. You like that one? Okay, good. I'm glad you like that. How come you didn't ask for the brackets before? That's kind of strange. After all that... I like this, the else, actually. I can do that better with an else. Oops, that's not good. No, that's fine. I think we're okay there. Hopefully. Why are you back on again? I can't tell. I gotta get the sprite back off again. Thought I turned it off. Unless that's stepping. No, I got the speed on. Okay. Behave yourself. I didn't mean to do that, actually. But let's try it again. Bugger! The agony of defeat. So what am I missing now? It still might be 0 and 1. It's possible. Most indexes that I've ever seen actually Okay, did I just see something weird here? Okay, no, that's fine. Everything looks good to me there. So I'm gonna go with 0. I love how it highlights everything too. So if it's 0, I'm gonna make it 1. Otherwise, it's gonna be. We'll go with 0. So if it is 0, it's going to change it to 1. If it's 1, it's going to change it to 0. Let's try that one. Yeah, I know. Stop it. Still defeat. That's going to be one of these damn things that I cannot get. Hello. Close off. Behave yourself. I'm going to try one more time with the sprite index. I don't know why. Unless I find out what the hell the image index is. See, there's a sprite index too, and I'm really curious about that one. Okay. The variable returns the index of the current sprite of the instance, or -1 if the instance has no sprite associated with it. You can change it to give the instance a different sprite by giving it the name of a sprite from the resource tree, or by using a variable that has an externally loaded sprite index in it. What the hell? Changing the sprite does not change the index of the currently visible frame. So if you change the sprite on frame number 3, the new sprite will be drawn with that frame visible, assuming it has the same number of frames. Alright. See, I'm not too sure why these examples here. So the scale changes, rotation, So that's essentially is drawing the self. Try one more thing here. Let's hold on a second here. Wait, hold on. I tried all the other different frames or something. I'm gonna play with those for a minute, just because I don't know. It's left press, so why not? Let me close this up for a second. Now I'm gonna play it. Yeah, I know. I don't think that makes a difference. But I figured I'd try anyways. I wonder if you can do an if in there. Yeah, I'm getting rid of the else. I just want to try to make sure that I can do that, or if I'm in a wrong syntax or something. All right, so that's left press now. That doesn't seem to do anything, which is making me wonder what the hell. Draw sprite underscore whatever. Draw a sprite at a given position with customizable scale. Okay. I'm just trying to see if I can get that to do anything. By the looks of it, I can't. I think 0 was the first one. No, 0 wasn't the first one. That was the first one right there. Okay, so what's going on with this thing? Doesn't return anything. The function will draw the given sprite as in the function draw sprite. Okay. But with additional options to change the scale, blending, rotation, and alpha of the sprite being drawn. Changing these values does not modify the resource in any way, only how it is drawn. And you can use any of the available sprite variables instead of direct values for all the arguments in the function. The image below illustrates how different values affect the drawing of the sprite. Okay. I don't get it. I do not get that. What's going on there? Unless I have to close it, redo something, but that doesn't make any sense to me. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Give me a few minutes, guys. I am going to just take a couple minute break. Wow, it's 10:21. I've accomplished all that. You gotta be kidding me. It's gonna be one of those nights again. Okay, I'll be back. I think I know what's going on. I think I get it. This isn't the normal way that you would do this. So I don't know if there is a redraw. What is this? So what's happening is basically the sprite's already there and it's drawing another, because I've already got one there, it's what's this mean? Huh? Okay. it overwrites a previously created sprite index. You should use a sprite index that has been created and stored in a variable using other functions like sprite add. So this variable returns the index of the current sprite of the instance. Oh! That might be it right there. It's as simple as that? Really? No. Okay. Let's try this one. I don't know if that's going to work or not, because it made it sound like alright, that's alright. So if sprite underscore index equals 0, sprite underscore, if I can spell it, underscore index equals 1, else. I think this might work. I hope. Because I'm getting tired of playing with this. All that for... I'm still learning, guys, so that's just the way it is. So, let's see. Hopefully I haven't been here yet. Well, that's interesting. Okay, now I know what's going on. I know exactly what's going on there. That's funny. Okay, we're getting there. It's not sprite index, you dork. Close that off. What is this again? I can't remember what the hell it's called. It's not a sprite index. It's image index. Okay. Wow. Whoopsie. Okay, let's try this. We're getting there. That's progress. Hopefully, crap. Hopefully I can still do it with this without All right. Yay! Cool. All that for that? Wow. Okay. So that's good. I made a switch. Oh, jeez. How long did that take me? An hour and a half tonight, and I think I was trying to do it the other night too. Okay, well that's cool. Next. Oh, jeez. Instant layers property. I see. Yeah. See, I still have a lot to learn. That's pretty cool. So what's happening is that's a push button. I can click on it anywhere in here, really, as long as I'm in the area, and then just boom, it just lights up. So that's a start, and I consider that a success. Even though, I mean, you know, I'm talking about doing a simulator, and I got crap like that happening. But I'm learning the syntax. That's the whole thing. I obviously, you can tell I know the logic. You know, most of these if statements, that comes second nature to me. It's just how it does things, and it's not that complicated. It really isn't. It's just a matter of trying to figure out how it does it. Like you can see these wires here. This is very similar to Unreal 4's system, except it's not as complicated as Unreal 4. Or whatever the hell it is. Isn't it Unreal Engine 4? Yeah, whatever. So that's a good start. Now, where do we go from here? So what do we got? We got 1032. I'm gonna animate something here in a minute. We'll go back to my yeah. Let's go back to the room. Okay, I should be in the room here. What the hell? That's not the room. Oh, okay, I got all these screens open, that's why. Okay, so that's the instance. Okay, good. I don't know what the hell that means. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. Might be the workspace that I'm looking for. But let's see here. Nope. Well, maybe. These workspace areas, it's kind of interesting. Okay. Oh boy, what happens when I close that? Okay. I don't know if I want to be closing everything. So I got the toggles. I can do the same thing. I'm not too sure if I can somehow call that code. There's a lot of other things that I haven't really looked into. Like, for example, let's go through some of the help and see what we can do. Well, we're already in it, so I don't need to go back into it. So, I'm going to... So that's file handling. File save areas, file system functions. Okay, well, we'll start with file handling. to store information externally and be able to retrieve the information. For example, you may wish to store login details or high scores, blah, 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 blah. Oh, really? So, meaning it's sandboxed, meaning that there are a number of limits and minor complications when using the file system. And it's worth noting, too, that the file system will work slightly differently depending on the platform you are targeting. Okay, that's fine. If you have been granted permission by Steam to use their dedicated API with your game, you will find that there is also a new set of file functions available to you. These are explained in the Steam API. Yeah, okay. All Game Maker Studio projects have a file called options, so you cannot name any file with that. Yeah, that's fine. I get that. Alright, so we got text files. That's good. Binary's fine too. Information on the different... Okay, so that's good. I like text and file text open read. So text files are useful ways to store large amounts of data externally from your game. Contrary to INI files, you can have up to 32 text files open at once, which is fine. You know. And you can read and write large chunks of data to them as well. However, it is up to you to decide how the data should be structured, and there is no set section or key structure like with INI files, which makes sense. Please note that for games with localization, it is very important that accented letters can be read from external files. This means that you should create the text file in UTF-8 format first and then add it to the Game Maker Studio. I don't know what the hell that is. Never heard of that one. So it is exported or running the game and used instead of the default ANSI format text file that is created by game. Okay, hang on. Please note that for games with localization, it's very important that accented letters can be read from external. Okay, well, we don't have to worry about that. All right. Yeah, okay, so what's this file system limits? Didn't I already do this? Okay, I already seen that. On the Windows and Mac operating system platforms, there is one way to save and load files from outside of the sandbox, and that is using the functions getOpen file name and getSave file name. Both of these functions will require that the user selected area for loading and saving, and the return string can then be used to the rest of the file functions to bypass the sandbox. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell that means, if the sandbox is something internally used by Game Maker so that it's kind of in its own area, which is okay. But let's say, for example, if I was to go back to if I was to try and do something similar to RTS beta, although this probably isn't the good engine to do something like that, but if I was, and if I wanted the functions that RTS version 1 beta did, that means I would have to manipulate text files of a directory of my choosing. That, by definition, by the sounds of it, means it's outside of the sandbox. I take it. Well, let's read about the sandbox. Okay, well, here we go. The first and most important thing to note about the file functions is that they are limited in general to the sandbox. What this means is Game Maker Studio 2 cannot save or load files from anywhere that is not part of the game bundle or the local storage for the device without explicit input from the user, and even then this input is limited to only Windows and Mac target platforms. Okay, that's fine. I think we're okay there. The file bundle, this is where, okay, to understand what the sandbox, first of all, you need to understand that there are two distinct areas for files. The file bundle. This is where all the files that are packaged with the executable games are stored, okay, including the files that you have added to the included files resources list from the Game Maker Studio 2 IDE, which are the extended files that you want packaged with the game. Okay, understood that. The save area. This is an area of device storage that can be safely written to by the game, and the game is guaranteed that this is a writable area. The game only reads from the exported. What the heck? Okay. So the game bundle, I don't care about the game bundle. Game reads and writes to the local storage. Okay, change files. This is the read-write working. Exported files. This is the read-only working directly. Alright. That confuses the hell out of me right there a little bit. But yeah, that's okay. It's not the first, it won't be the last. I'm getting tired. I can only imagine you guys watching this. Like I said, this is going to be a lot of learning. So, I mean, I could do it on my own right now. I could just keep going, or basically take you along for the ride for a little bit. And, you know, once I get into the mundane, I guess this is mundane because it's repetitive and all that, so. But, I mean, one thing I do miss is being able to, well, I mean, I'm going to probably do it tomorrow night, but yeah, I noticed last night I missed that, is having, just basically having the live stream or whatever. Now, mind you, I had my son with me, so, or not my son with me, but my son on the multiplayer, so that was different. But still, you know, I get to see my son a fair amount of the time, so I always miss him anyways. He's, like I said, he's priority one. As soon as he called, boom, I canceled the live stream. It was just like that. And, you know, if there was something come up, obviously, I would shut it down. You know, it's not saying that, you know, it's, I don't know, spoiled or whatever the case may be. It's just, in that case, you know, hey, he wants to do something, that's fine. That's just how it is. Live streams are not my major priority, but at the same time, I like doing this, so I guess. So, let's see, what else are we gonna do? It's getting a little late. I'm trying to think if I want to go now. I've got to. Here's where we're gonna go forward with this. We got this working. So we know what the hell we're doing with that. We can duplicate that. Yeah, let's go ahead and run this one more time here. So now that we have that, inside that click, there'll be functions, but there's other functions that you know, I'm gonna start getting into, like the clock and all this. Now, one of the things that I had said the other night, and it may have been deleted, or you know, because I deleted two files. I won't delete tonight, so I'll let this go. I don't care. I mean, I can have as many thumbs down. I really don't care. It doesn't matter. You guys, it's up to you guys. You've been warned. There's going to be a lot. I try to make it entertaining in the beginning, let you know what I'm doing, and then it's up to you guys if you want to hang around. Nobody's forcing anybody. But what's going to happen, and I said this the other night, the CTC board is great. It's a start. It's not going to be the same type of CTC board that Union Switch and Signal. That's what originally I was going for. I decided that I'm going to go with a hybrid because it looks as though, and this is, which is interesting because we're talking about that simulator that I suddenly seen, the railcar simulator. Although that's based on a prototypical model, the route is not. And that made me feel a little bit better knowing that you can do that. And there's no reason why you can't. So where I'm going with this, I don't know about the route editor. I'm not even worried about the route editor. I'm taking the same approach probably like Run 8 did, where the route editor, because I can do all the editing in this, I don't need a route editor. So yes and no. I mean, because it's in that sandbox mode, it's one of those things. I don't even know, and I was checking the files there just to see how that works and how things can be manipulated. I'm not sure yet. I don't know if they can be manipulated through other software or if they have to be manipulated within the sandbox for particular functions like routes and stuff like that come with it. I don't know how that works. And considering that others have access to this if they want to develop routes and save them, and I would imagine be able to copy them over to me, then I can import them and take a look at them at least. But as far as them, I have no idea if that's how they could do it, or if that's the easiest way to do it, or make some type of syntax or whatever. But anyways, the reason why I'm not using Union Switch and Signal, and I'll end this on the talk with this tonight, and then we'll cut this. I'm not going to go any further with coding or anything like that tonight. It took me long enough to get that to go. Now at least we're getting somewhere. As far as the sprites, that's really the only thing on the CTC panel. The switches, like the buttons, you push a button, there's a green button, there's a red button, and there's a white one. Whites are generally for fleets, and other green is usually for a clear signal, red for a cancel. Now I know the Union Switch and Signal has the handles. I've already seen them. You might have seen some of the history videos that I was showing while I was looking for the tutorial videos. You might have seen some of the panels I was looking at. Originally I was going to prototype it, and then I thought about it a little bit, and it was actually when I was starting to look at images of other ones, and I saw a local panel image that caught my eye. And this is prototyped from that local panel, except I'm going to do my own prototype, and I have my own idea as to how I want to do it. The way the CTC panel is going to work is it's going to be a hybrid. And the reason why I'm going to do a hybrid is because a lot of this is going to become a hybrid. There's not going to be any prototype to it. You might think, well, geez, I mean, that's not very realistic if it's, you look back, Run 8 did their own little panel. Well, the reason why Run 8 did their own little panel was because they had control of being able to do things their own way, and they didn't want to adhere to a certain prototype. And that's where I got into it, because I started thinking about that, and I thought, well, I could put it in there with a CTC machine, but the technology is older. So if I do it, then suddenly I'm I'm basically locking myself into that era. Kind of similar to where that other program is out there with the rail car, or the whatever the hell you call the damn thing. I can never think of what they're called in the UK. The we call them rail diesel cars over here, but anyways, very similar, I guess. So are RDCs. So that simulator is focused on a particular prototype in an era. However, the route is freelance or protolance, maybe. On this side, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at having a totally freelanced control system that's going to have all the functions you would expect from any dispatching system worldwide. So it's not going to be adherent to a particular signal board. It's going to have the functions you come to expect from a dispatch board. So it's going to have everything that the union switch and signal thing has, except it's not going to look like a union switch and signal. It's just going to have the functionality of it. So the difference between that is it's not going to have the handles. I'm going to use push buttons instead. I prefer to use the push buttons because I can push them and I can get an indication after I've pushed them. Now, mind you, there's a code button. There's all kinds of different things to consider, and maybe I will. Maybe I will change my mind and go to the code versus that. But we'll see. I'll have to think about it. But for now, I kind of like the idea of having the push buttons as opposed to the knobs, just because what makes the push buttons good is if AI is running it, then I don't have to worry about the button or the handle being in a certain position. The only one I have is a toggle, and that could, I don't know what the toggles are going to be used for yet, but I just figure it's easier that way. I can still have a code button and what have you, but yeah, it's, the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking, yeah, the union switch and signal is probably better, but and I may go back to it. I don't know. We'll see. I can always add it later on, or I can add some hybrid that's similar to the union switch and signal CTC machine. I just don't want to date myself into that particular era to say, yes, this is going to be a simulation. This isn't about being a simulation of a CTC machine. This is much further than that. This is all about AI, totally. And we're not even anywhere near that yet. We're just getting started. And the dispatch portion of that, I may use this just to I want to make sure that I can get the AI dispatching working first and foremost. Once I know I can, and once I know that my ideas will work, I'm going to put in some sample, very, complex yet not too complex territory. That's the idea right now. It's going to be totally freelanced. I'm going to stick with very basic variables. I'm not going to worry about grade. I'm not going to worry about really anything other than maybe some differences in horsepower, and acceleration and stuff like that. But the whole idea is to make sure that it's not going to choke. I'm going to have to basically get it to the point where I run it and test it and run it and test it and run it and test it to make sure that it doesn't choke. And if it does choke, I'm going to be running this in the background for a long time. And I will have a log file. I'll have something in there to tell me what's going on. I'll always be able to refer to that log file if something goes wrong. At least that basically is where the AI does choke, because I want to eliminate the choke points. I want to make sure that the AI knows how to handle pretty much any situation it comes up to. I don't know how well that's going to go, but I'm pretty certain based on the designs that I have, it will work. So once I've gotten that far, that's where I'm going to switch my focus over into the 2D world. And yes, I said 2D world. I'm not worried about 3D world. 2D is the main focus. And the reason why 2D is because I'm not a graphic artist. I don't want to be a graphic artist. I don't want to I don't want to go there. I'm one person. I'm going to do this my way. And it's going to be, if the vision holds true, and I know this little green light here doesn't look like much, it's the start of something, trust me. I'm not giving up on this one, because this is mine. Like, this is all my baby. So it's different when you're under something else, and I don't give a rat's ass if anybody bets against me or not. You know, if I quit or if I decide to give up, that's I suppose that's my choice, that's my loss. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't see why I would. All it is a matter of learning the knowledge and experience. And anything that I've learned up to this point, I mean, whether it be RTS, I had a reason for it. I never gave up on RTS. Some people might think I did because I never went to RTS version 2. No, because it was no longer required in Run 8 version 2. So, but no, I never gave up on RTS. It was still being edited. I mean, it wasn't being modified as much towards the end, but it worked fine. It just needed some TLC towards the end, and I was holding off to wait and see what version 2 had in store. And once I found out version 2 it did what it did, I realized that RTS really had become not possible, really. Well, it was possible, but I mean, it would have been much more of a pain to run it, to spawn trains all the time and all that. And I go back to the Run 8 idea because the reason why I say that is I got to a point in Run 8 where I was at, I don't have the options anymore. So this is why I come to this. This I have total control over. I mean, if I fail because I gave up. And you know, you can say I gave up on the other things too, but it's because I decided that it wasn't worth the effort, or, you know, whatever the case may be. Whatever it is, I'll learn something from it. And the good part about this is nobody has to join me. Nobody has to watch my videos. Nobody has to do anything. They can do whatever they want. I'm not I don't feel guilty. Nobody has to buy anything from me. Nobody has, you know, I'm not saying anybody bought any. I ever asked anybody to buy anything from me anyways, but no, I'm gonna go on Run 8 tomorrow night. I'm gonna probably run down in LA, but you know, nobody has to come along for this ride. It's totally optional, and my life could change. I could, who knows what. So there's no promises, and if you want to bet against me, go ahead. I don't care. Do what you want. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't see a reason why I would quit, because this is totally in my control. Did I give up on Unreal 4? You're damn right I did, because I knew I was over my head. This I don't feel over my head. I just feel like I need to learn it, and slowly I'll get there, because I have the programming experience. I have the background and all the other stuff. So yeah, I'm working myself up and I'm pumping myself up, but guess what? I'm still doing the work, and I'm still excited to do the work. I'm glad I got this part figured out. This was ridiculously, took way too long, I thought. But then you have to learn the syntax. You have to learn how it communicates, how it does things. I don't even know what the hell I can't even remember how the hell I was doing it. All I know is now I know how to do it, and it was a lot simpler than I made it. So, and I'm glad I didn't go the route of actually having to go in and creating an independent sprite, because the beautiful thing about having the sprite the way it is is if I have a flashing signal, and in some cases these will be flashing greens and flashing reds, all I have to do is change a few of the states and boom, suddenly now I have the animation that I want. It's perfect. So that's exactly what I wanted. The toggle, you're not going to see an up and down toggle thing, but still, instead of replacing it, to me this is easier to do this way. And you know, slowly we'll learn, we'll get through this and I'll learn this and we'll see what happens. So but anyways, I forgot to say something. I know it's 11. I'm gonna try to make this real quick. The reason why I'm doing the 2D, as I said, I'm not going to go into putting myself into something that's way over my head. I had fun, a lot of fun in the freight yard manager days and the yard duty days. But again, that needed AI, so it never got it. I want it. I want to recapture that again. What I don't want to do is have to do a lot of research that's going to waste my time, as in research this railroad, research this era, research this, that. I don't care. I'm making industries. I'll use my own creativity. I'll figure out a map. I'll figure out how I want to structure it, and it's great to, and what I saw tonight with that other simulator is that's exactly how he did it. He just created his own world the way he wanted to. I don't know if he protolanced it or anything, but that's how he did it. And that's exactly how I'm going to do it. Except I'm going to do it in a 2D form. I think he wanted to do 2D. He was thinking about doing 2D at one time. So he's a sole developer as well, but he's been doing this, I'm just getting started with this part. And what I'll do from there is I'm going to start with the industries first. I want to make sure that there's a purpose for everything. How the industries call way bills, how, basically put their supply and demand out there. Because I'm going to use supply and demand as much as I'm going to use way bills. I'm actually going to use supply and demand so that it gets thrown out there, and then it basically finds others that can take it, and things will change. I might go through cycles of change where supply and demand goes down, or business. My son's always wanted to get into the more tycoon type things where there's a dollar value associated with it. I don't know how far I'm going to push that, but at the very least, I want that to become realistic. I want the business cycles in there. I want to have the demand at certain times of the year come into play, and I want it to each industry basically have its own little system within itself, so that it doesn't have to be complex. All it has to do is have a basic set of rules as far as what it needs, when it needs it. If business is suddenly getting better, or if lines need to be abandoned. The other thing too, looking at, and this is why I really, really would like to do the route editor as well. I want to get it so that you can actually develop lines, or change lines, or add yard tracks, or remove yard tracks, or add humps, shut down humps, whatever the case may be. I want it to become more of a sandbox in itself, so that you're not basically set in stone doing that one thing. Now, as far as multiplayer goes, that's a long ways down the line. I can tell you that right now. The only way I see that coming into play, honestly, is once this is on something like Steam or itch.io or something. It's got to be. I don't plan on doing it any other way. I don't have the, I need more people to be able to be on that team in order to do it, and I don't feel like sharing. I'd rather do this by myself for now. And once I get to a certain point, yeah, if I need the help or whatever, or if I have a basic system down and everything's okay, then that's great. But anyways, when I was getting into the industries, I get the industries in there, then I start working with the yards, then I start working, then the purpose has the trains have the purpose, and then it leads to the dispatching system. The dispatching system will control the trains in between the areas just like it would in real world, but it's going to start. The dispatching system is just a proof of concept. Not so much a proof of concept, but to make sure that that AI system works. If that AI system works, there's no way I'm going to be able to switch trains by AI. I have to get the dispatching working, and I plan on doing it because I'm pretty confident in my design. And like I said, as far as how I'm going to go about doing it, like as far as if I'm going to use a push button panel or if I'm going to use a genuine panel like a union switch and signal, which I'm probably, now that I think about it, I'm probably going to go that way anyways, but it's there anyways. I don't mind these things because these can be used as lamps even though they look like push buttons. I mean, I'm not too sure how I want to do it just yet, but I like push buttons, but I'll have to figure out a way of how I want to make the push buttons work and still have a code in there. But who knows? There's a lot of ways to do it. Maybe I don't need the code button. Maybe I can do it that way and still have the fleets and still have everything else and everything hunky-dory, and we'll see. I'll have to think about it. Or just proof of concept, and this is the good place where I can try it out and try different control systems. So what's going to happen moving forward? So we're at 11:07. I'm just going to end it like within 2 minutes here. The background is going to be a panel that basically is similar to the union switch and signal as far as modular, in other words, or components. And this works really well with the sprites because what'll happen is they'll tile, just like if you ever see in a union switch and signal, they have the little holes where the switch knobs go, where the light knobs go and everything. That's exactly what's going to happen with this. That's the first thing that's going to happen. And this, I'm telling you right now, that panel, now that I got this part done, that panel will come into play in no time. Now that I know how to do that part, I also know how to turn a toggle on and off. So the same sprite will work. You left mouse click on it, boom, it is able to flick the toggle switch. That'll turn a state on, and that'll cause its own series of commands, and the logic will run in the background and everything else, and blah blah blah. Everything will be fine. So, this works out good. So it's just as basic as that is. I mean, and I might have it so that like once I've cleared something, I may have it so that I can't take away that cleared signal, for example. So like once it is green, there's no reason why I can't get the logic, like push it in and push it off. Once I've pushed it, it's on. Then what, like say for running time, I can hit that red button and the red one will start flashing for 5 minutes if I want to run time on it. If it doesn't allow, I'll have to have some other function in there that, like say for example, a train is in the approach block, that won't allow it to even run time. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. It would run 5 minutes anyways. You throw a red signal in front of a train. Maybe I'll have some alarm or a warning, and then have some override or something. I'm not too sure how they do that with the CTC panels, because you hit the code usually the signal will go to red, but it'll be a flashing red for about 5 minutes. The fleet will be in there. I'll have a white light in there for that, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun project, I think. And that's the cool thing, is it's going to be fun. So that'll be what's up next. Tomorrow I'm going to do Run 8. I am actually going to go on to the servers and just try to relax for tomorrow. And then I will be back here. Well, I'll be back here tomorrow, and I'll do the live stream with the Run 8. Then Wednesday, depending upon what Kiddo's doing, it's, you know, the earlier I get at, I don't care about YouTube or, sorry, as far as this I do, but I don't care about watching YouTube or keeping up on things or anything like that. I mean, YouTube is boring the hell out of me these days. I'm sure I'm boring the hell out of a lot of people, but anyways, having said that, I better end this now. So, because it's getting late and my voice is going. So, I'm going to save my project, and that's a good start. Are you sure you want to exit? Yeah. Oh, I still have the program running. See? So, that's good. This will be fun, and then I'll get some logic built into that, and then I'll run some tests and all that other stuff. But anyways, that's enough of that. It'll get more fun, trust me. It's a little boring right now, but I'll keep this video up there anyways. So let me know what you think, and if you have any comments, suggestions, ideas, just post them on YouTube or post them on the forum, wherever, and I'll take everything into consideration. So that's it for now, guys. I will see you tomorrow, probably after 9 o'clock, and we'll do a little bit of Run 8 on the Southwest server. Have a good one. We'll see you.